What's up everybody? So today I'm in the 2015 Lexus RC-F. This has a 5-liter V8 with 467 horsepower and an 8-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. This car is courtesy of Champion Car Company. They got it in and said, hey, why don't you come out and film it? This thing is molten orange or molten pearl orange, a bright color, and looks amazing from the outside, and the inside is pretty spectacular as well. I already did the full walk around review going over inside and out and everything like that, but now it's time to test drive the car and see how well this car performs. So driving right now, I'm in normal mode, automatic, everything is just like your typical car. It's pretty comfortable, going about 45 miles an hour. It's comfortable, the seats are nice and supportive, the armrests are in the right spot. The steering wheel is easy to configure with the power adjustments, up, down, telescoping and everything like that. So overall, so far it's a normal, comfortable car. Good visibility overall, it's really nice to see out the front. The hood, I can see a little hint of the air vent up there, and then the A-pillars are not in the way, so good visibility. Rearward visibility is pretty good, the C-pillar is pretty big. The mirror does a good job letting me know what's directly behind me. And for the interior, this has the premium package, which gives it these very nice looking seats, a little bit better stitching than the standard one. You also get ventilated seats. So just accelerating a little bit, normal mode. It's quiet, it's comfortable, it's just a normal car. We'll go ahead and pop it into Sport Plus mode. We'll keep traction on and everything. And it already downshifted for me. We'll put it into manual mode just so I can take full control. We have an 8-speed automatic. Alright, that's got a nice little grunt to it, and that was 4,000 RPM. And then what's very cool, I can just pop up the spoiler in the rear, make it go up and down at my leisure, which is pretty nice to see. Alright, so now getting it on to some nicer roads. The suspension in this mode at least is pretty abrupt. I'm feeling all the bumps. These sport bucket seats do a pretty good job holding you in them. The bolsters are very large. The power, it's downshift a little bit. Pretty quick. Once it gets over maybe 4,500 RPM, you can really feel the V8 just pulling you. It's got a nice aggressive sound to it, and from what I'm learning, it actually is a sound tube generator. Because it's a Lexus, of course, there's a lot of sound deadening in it, but it does give it a really nice sound on the inside. And then taking a look at the exhaust, I'm pretty sure it sounds pretty awesome from back there. Long sweeping turns. It's so planted on the road. That's pretty cool. It does remind me a little bit of when I drove the GTR. It has the weight to kind of carry it through any little bump. You feel the bumps, but it's planted. There's no body roll at all. We'll get to some sharper turns in a little bit. But the overall feel so far is pretty nice. The view out is great. The seats are really nice. I like the comfort of them and the performance aspects. But so far the transmission is very responsive. When you downshift, it kicks the gear immediately. Same with an upshift, and you can feel them too. It does rev match the downshift, which is what you would expect. Yeah, it's got some throttle response too. That was third gear, going about 45. Now this car has a claimed 0 to 60 time of about 4.5 seconds. So it won't quite do that kind of test, but we'll see how it does do from a first gear lower speed pull. Pretty quick. It's not the fastest car out there, I will say. It doesn't have that turbocharged power from like a new M4 or some of the supercharged power from the CTS-V, but it gets out of its way pretty well. It does have a little bit of a weight bias given the 400-pound penalty, comparing it to the BMW, but I mean that got right up to 60 with no time at all. but the handling so far is what is really impressive. It's comfortable and smooth, which is what you want in a Lexus. I mean, this is a luxury car, but the performance so far is really cool. We're gonna get up to a sharp turn up here so I can really see the body roll. We'll go ahead and downshift a little bit. But I mean, that is so planted in a long sweeper. Coming into a sharper turn now. There is no body roll whatsoever. That is ridiculous. So downshift again, come into this turn. I mean, the steering is so direct with the electronic power steering. It's insanely planted. Downshifts gives you a little bit of a kick, but it's very smooth, very responsive. So now back in second gear. So it takes a little bit of time for that horsepower to ring it out in second gear. I had to get closer to 5,000 RPM for the power to really pull. But with naturally aspirated engines, you have to ring them out. You have to use the entire power band, unlike a turbo or a supercharged car. That had a nice sound to it. But yeah, this is very planted, and I think the weight, while the weight might hurt its 0 to 60 time just a little bit, I feel like it helps its cornering ability, which you wouldn't necessarily think that would make sense, but I think the weight of it just kind of keeps it planted. It's not going to bounce over bumps. You're going to feel the bumps, but it's not just going to bounce over them like that one. So back into eco mode, just chilling out a little bit. We'll talk about the practicality of this car, because at the heart of it, it's the Lexus RC, which is their two-door sports coupe. Obviously, being the RC-F, this is their sports car version of it with all the crazy extra goodies. But as a normal car, I mean, you could easily daily this. I could totally get on board with having this as my daily driver. Very comfortable seats, and they're big too. They're not too short in the base or too weird or anything. They're very comfortable, and even the rear seats are actually pretty good. Comparing it, like when I had the Genesis Coupe, they're a little bit bigger than that car, and those were pretty decent. So you can fit human beings back there, not just little kids or just luggage. So you can actually fit full-grown adults back there, and the trunk space is very big as well. So it can be just a normal, practical daily driver car. I mean, in eco mode and automatic, you know, the car's just driving itself. I'm giving it a little bit of gas, just barely steering, and the car's kind of normal. But then, of course, when you do want to have the fun, you can dial it up. We're not going to go quite in expert mode right now since it's not my car, but giving it a few downshifts. And it'll take off pretty well, and the Brembo brakes do a really good job. They're ventilated and slotted all around, 6 pistons up front, 4 pistons in the rear, and they seem to do a really good job. I mean, again, it's a bigger car, but it has the brakes to back it up. And this car does have the torsion limited slip rear differential. If you do opt for the sport package, which is like a $5,500 option, you will get a torque vectoring limited slip, but regardless, this one is still going to keep you planted when you're taking a sharp turn and on the gas. So as far as the aesthetics go for what you're seeing as the driver, the digital display in the center is really cool to see. You have the fixed rings for where the tach and the speedometer are. The speedometer is an analog gauge, and it's actually smaller than you would really expect, but you have the large center mounted tach, and going through the different modes, it'll change the look of it. The eco mode has the blue rings on it. It doesn't actually show you your RPM, it just shows you your speed. And then when you put it into normal mode, it's a normal car, but then dialing it up to Sport and Sport Plus, you get a big red line and a cool white accented color to it. So you get a pretty cool driver input, good layout, it's easy to see the navigation, and with the premium package, you have this touchscreen mouse that is like what you get on a laptop. You can press it to engage whatever you're hitting on the navigation screen, your different sport mode button, and then nice carbon fiber and alcantara, really cool looking contrast stitching everywhere, has a very sharp interior, and then of course stiff suspension, but has the power to do that. Yeah, when you get the right RPM, it really takes off. I think above 5,000 RPM is where it really shines. It has a red line just over 7,000 RPM, so that's pretty high for a big 5-liter V8. But when you're up in the RPM range, it will pull you back in your seat and just push forward. So 4,000 RPM in second gear. You get a rev light when you get closer to the red line. But man, I cannot get over how planted this car is. I wasn't expecting it to be like that, because you think with the weight, wow, that is ridiculous. Wow. Lexus did their homework on this. They definitely looked at their LFA and took a lot of the inspiration, but they have done their work on these F Sport cars with the performance you want, the comfort, luxury. It almost has everything we could really want in a luxury sports car. They seem to just tick all the boxes in styling. I don't know about you guys, but I think the styling is amazing on the car. It's so bold and aggressive, and it's just something that you don't see every day. It doesn't look like your normal car. While the M4s and the Cadillacs and everything that are competing with this, they all look great. I'm not gonna knock those cars. They look like your normal car. This one doesn't. Now the bright orange paint job probably makes it look a little more crazy, but the bold grille, the sharp styling, the headlights and taillights, the whole combination of the car just looks like something else. And I appreciate Lexus for going the bold route. They didn't just make it look like the normal car with a little extra bells and whistles on it. They really made it look unique. And then leading on to the interior, they went all out. The detail on the seats, something they didn't have to do. They used like 10, 15 different pieces of leather just to make this whole contoured shape that's behind your head. And it just makes it look that much more premium. And then the leather, the alcantara, the stitching and everything just works very well. So finishing up the test drive now in the 2015 Lexus RC-F, I am really impressed with the overall package of the car. It's not the fastest car out there in a straight line. Some of its competitors with forced induction are probably going to beat it in a straight line, but the handling it has is really nice. It's as planted as you would really want your luxury Grand Touring sports car coupe to be. It has plenty of power, and you're not sacrificing much performance in a straight line. The right RPM, it moves. It is not a slow car. So it's definitely quick. The planted suspension of it is just ridiculously flat in the corners. It's fun to drive in the right mode. Again, we're not going to turn traction control off, but you can do that and probably get a little sideways. But the responsiveness of the car, that's just crazy how good that turn was. That's crazy. But overall, this car is fantastic. I really like it, and for a comfortable luxury car that you could drive every single day, this could do so much for you as a daily driver, and yet you press some buttons and now you're in a pretty crazy sports car that has an awesome V8 rumble to it. That is hard to argue and a pretty good bargain if you ask me. So overall, the Lexus RC-F. Oh yeah. It is a cool car, and you should buy one if you can find one that is really cool, because this is pretty awesome, and I can totally get on board with rocking one of these cars. This is pretty sweet, and just the looks of it are mind-blowing. So anyway, we'll dial it down to make it a little bit quieter in here. That's it for the test drive review video of the 2015 RC-F. This is a pretty awesome car, and I'm really enjoying it, and I don't really want to give it back right now. So anyways, huge thank you to Champion Car Company. They got this car in a few weeks ago, gave me a call and said, why don't you come up here and test drive our RC-F? It's pretty awesome. And they were right, this car is pretty sweet. So huge thank you to them. I'll have the link to their website along with the link to this actual car. You can check it out in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube for some big things coming up very shortly, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. So thank you all for watching, and we'll dial it up one last time. We'll see you all next video.